And welcome to another live at Craft Angles. I am Khyati, and today we are doing a weekend workshop. So now, normally, what idea we have with our weekend workshop is, I hope I'm audible. Somebody can comment down below that they are able to hear me and see me properly. I actually we are today for a change live at three channels. So we are live on Instagram, we are live on Facebook, and we are live on YouTube. This is something that we are trying if it works out. So because of this, there's an extra work on my end where I have to check both the chats, which is the Facebook, YouTube, and the Instagram. So I'm checking your chats, but at the same time, in case I miss out on the comments, please feel free to ask again. So just to give you a brief of what is weekend workshop all about. So I'm Khyati. I'm founder of Craft Angles and Handmade. In case you don't know me, I have been crafting for more than 15 years. I like to dabble in almost all art forms. So I like to, not restrict myself to a single art form. So normally with all our weekend workshop lives that we do with our designers, etc. What great, great. Thank you. Thank you, Kosha, for confirming. So what I was saying is that with every weekend workshop live, we try to take up a different art form and teach you something, and at the same time you can see Craft Angles product live. So in case you have any queries in terms of like why are you using this product, what is the logic behind it, etc. We try to want to give you answers to those questions live, rather than recording and then going back and forth. So what happens based on my experiences, a lot of those questions are kind of missed out in translation, and that is something that we artists learn hard way. Over the period of experiences, जब हम लोग 4 5 साल 10 साल एक आर्ट फॉर्म करते हैं तो हमें रियलाइज होता है कि हमें ये चीज हम क्यों इंट्यूटिवली कर रहे हैं और ये चीज हम क्यों इंट्यूटिवली नहीं कर रहे हैं। तो इसीलिए हम ये लाइव कर रहे हैं ताकि आपको सवाल वगैरह हो तो आप पूछ सकते हो। Hello, Hazel. So I'm kind of guys checking to chat just to let you know. So in case thoda open niche ho, please feel free to comment again. So now I'll move my screen and we'll talk about आज हम क्या करने वाले हैं, etc. So just give me a second. Okay. So ये जो हमने होम डेकोर पीस बनाया था ये हमने लास्ट टाइम बनाया था यूजिंग अवर वन ऑफ आवर न्यू लॉन्चेस व्हिच वाज नैपकिंस। सो दीज आर मेड इन इंडिया डिकोपेज नैपकिंस जो हमने आई थिंक अराउंड 2 महीने पहले लॉन्च किए थे। सो दिस इज अ पार्ट ऑफ आवर फर्स्ट लॉन्च जिसको यूज करके मैंने होम डेकोर का पीस बनाया था। नाउ माय आइडिया इज कि मेरे को पूरा ऐसा एक कोलाज ऑफ वॉल बनाना है ऑन माय ऑफिस जहाँ पे मैं ऐसे पूरा एक कोलाज बनाना चाहती हूँ डिफरेंट डिफरेंट आर्टिकल्स जो मैंने बनाया है उससे। So this was just one of it जो मैंने बनाया था, and here we discussed a lot of distressing technique etc. in our in our live that we did. अगर आपने miss कर दिया है, you could definitely see this live on my YouTube, handmade ka YouTube, and I think this is also available on our Facebook. This is not available on Instagram as of now, but in case you are curious, just take a screenshot and DM us that we would like to learn, and we'll share the link for this tutorial. This shared a lot of fun techniques that I think you would love. So now, as I said, this was very vintagey project जो हमने start of the month में किया था. So I thought instead of doing that this time, इस बार हम लोग something colorful करेंगे. So for colorful, my idea today is that I wanted to actually do something like this. Okay, not as colorful as this, but these are my samples which I made from one of our new launch just that we launched on Wednesday. So I have shown a different technique in this, and I have shot the tutorial for this, and there'll be a YouTube tutorial for this. But my idea is to do something like this. Now, this was transfer on transfer, and then I have created this watercolor alcohol ink kind of a look that I will teach you in that YouTube tutorial. But while I was, making this sample, मैंने realize किया कि हमने ऐसा कुछ भी napkins के साथ नहीं किया है. So I thought today will be fun where, we can play around with colors and do some technique with napkins, something similar to this. And just for those of you who have questions, this is coated with our resin. So this is how our resin bottle comes. This is the hardener, but this is coated with resin. And today I'm going to show you an alternative for that also, which is very famous in like decoupage artists. So we will show you that, and just to give you visual, हम लोग ऐसा कुछ बनाने वाले हैं, which is going to be bold and colorful. Okay. So to start off with, I'm going to take these coasters. These are Craft Angles MDF coasters. in three sizes, which is rectangle, sorry, square, rounded square, and circle. Okay. Uh, this were made using circle. So मैंने सोचा आज मैं कुछ अलग करूंगी. तो मैंने राउंडेड स्क्वायर्स लिए हैं एंड आज मैंने एज आई सेड आई डोंट वांट टू डू वेरी वेरी लाइक कॉम्प्लिकेटेड विंटेजी प्रोजेक्ट आज मैंने सोचा हम लोग पूरा उल्टा करते हैं हेलो कविता तो आज हम लोग कुछ कलरफुल करें सो फॉर दैट I'll start off with these coasters. Now these are MDF coasters जिसको मैंने already gesso किया हुआ है. So I have added 2 coats of gesso to this because of which I get this opaque white layer. And then what we are going to do is we are going to do napkin on napkin on top of this. Okay, you could also do some coloring in the background, but that will do on the top later on. Okay, so for napkin on napkin technique, आपको एक दो चीजें ध्यान रखनी है. First thing is कि आप जो background napkin ले रहे हो, that cannot be very busy. It needs to be light. Okay. So for example, if you see, यहाँ पे मैंने transfer on transfer किया है, तो ये मेरा background transfer है, which is not very, lot of designs or very design heavy pattern. इसमें सिर्फ script था. And then on top of it, I did this flower, which is another transfer. So that is what you have to make sure whenever you are doing the same thing, which is napkin on napkin, which we are doing today. So I thought I wanted to actually show you two types of background. So for that, I'm using these two napkins. As you can see, they have been thoroughly loved. These are from our last release, जो हमारा decoupage napkin का first release था. So the design that I am using is number 38, which is floral sketches 1, and number 39, which is natural sketches 1. And मैं क्या करने वाली हूँ is I'm going to use these details, the minute details that you see, which will just add some interest. Now, could you have done stamping, etc.? Of course, if you have a lot of stamps, you could definitely do stamps rather than doing napkins in the background. That's also one technique. However, today I wanted to show for people who are very beginner and don't have a lot of supplies in hand, then you could definitely, achieve a similar look by playing around with napkins, transfers, decoupage papers, etc. So हम लोग आज काफी limited products से काम करेंगे. And then here I'm going to use this, which is going to be more of a bolder script. इसमें आप देखोगे काफी blackish है, so you can see the difference. So ये हम क्या करेंगे जब हमारा actual focal point design जो आएगा, which is going to be this. This is from our new launch, which we just launched Wednesday. So this code number is 71 for those of you who would want to know. And this is called peony flowers. Okay, so this has these beautiful set of flowers that we are going to use. एंड आई वांटेड टू शो यू कि ऐसे कलर के फ्लावर्स के नीचे अगर हम ब्लैक का बैकग्राउंड दे तो कैसा लगेगा और ग्रे का बैकग्राउंड देंगे तो कैसा लगेगा एंड हाउ यू कैन कंबाइन डिफरेंट डिजाइंस एंड काइंड ऑफ क्रिएट अ न्यू लुक एवरी टाइम. सो फर्स्ट हम लोग बैकग्राउंड प्रेप करते हैं. So for that, you can see since my coasters are already prepared. Now what I want to do is, I just want ये थोड़ा सा script वाला part. I don't want like the floral part or anything क्योंकि just to show you कि मैं बोल रही थी कि आप बहुत busy background ना रखें. Just to show you the what happens when you do very busy background, right? So you can see यहाँ पे मेरा ये background बहुत busy है, right? This was this kind of a design in the background. So you can see this is kind of overpowering the whole flower, okay, which you don't want whenever you are doing like layer on layer. So in the background, you want something which is subtle. So that is why we are going to use the subtle part. We are not going to use the focal point. And that's the best part about napkins. You can use this later on in another project. Okay, so we will just kind of eyeball कि हमें कितना चाहिए. ठीक है. And I will start tearing off my napkin. And then I don't want this part, which is very bold part. So I'll remove that. And then I'll just like decal the edges. Yeah. And then I think I'll be good with the first design. Then for this, I'm going to take this part, kone ka. I'm just going to eyeball. And you can see how easily it tear off. So these are the two pieces that we are going to use. Now, how are we going to apply this is using our trusty folder method. So I'll take the first design. I'll take some clean water in a brush. Hi, Sneha. How is London? So we'll get our napkin ready. And then we are going to prep our coaster. So I'm going to take some decoupage glue. Now our decoupage glue is comparatively thicker. So I have already added some water to it and kind of diluted it in the bottle itself, because this is something that I use only for my decoupage projects. I have a different bottle for my other work. Okay, so I'll just take a little bit of glue and I will start applying it on top of the coaster. Yeah, remove all the excess. Yes, yes, Dhyananda. You can check our launch video, but it is exactly same as Tim Holtz. So you will get the similar effect, but these are made in India. So I'm just checking whether मेरा उल्टा print है कि सीधा print है. Okay, so this is correct side up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply this in the corner. Okay, and then I'm going to. Now you could have applied it directly with, hand and glue also. I just find, as I have told, in many of my lives, okay, this is easier for me to handle. So I really like this, file folder method. And then you just burnish. थोड़ा आपको burnish करना पड़ेगा. And this will automatically start sticking. एक एक साइड से आप कॉर्नर से रेस करके देख सकते हो. स्टिक नहीं हुआ. You can try from different sides. I always prefer कि ये directly लग जाए तो क्या मुझे I get minimal wrinkles. अगर मैं खुद लिफ्ट करके उसको एक साइड से होल्ड करूंगी तो क्या होगा, कभी-कभी wrinkle आ जाता है, which I can of course fix. आज लग रहा है we have to do the hard way. Oops, फट गया. I think I put a lot of glue. Just not letting. Hmm. Today seems to be an unlucky day where I'm struggling, and this always happens in life. I don't know why. Last life, I did not struggle so much. Sometimes, it happens. Wait, I just make it a little bit tacky. See, my glue was, I have put in a lot of glue. So that's why it was not leaving. And now I have these wrinkles. Now, since we are doing a lot of mixed media style, it's not a problem. But, thoda dhyan rakhiyega. Kabhi you don't put a lot of glue. I'll just take a plain water with a light hand. I'll remove as much wrinkles that I can. Okay. Okay. Most of them are removed. Just here you can see there is this big wrinkle over here. But don't worry, we are going to put flower on top of it, so it's going to be hidden. Now you can wait to remove this excess, paper on the sides. But what I like to do is, while it is wet itself, I like to remove most of it. So it's easier for me rather than, doing sanding and stuff. So now while this dries, we will do the second one. Okay. Cloth. Cloth. Now just this is the same folder that I use, so I'll just clean it. Can you make some black ones available too? Blank ones, okay. No, blank ones right now we don't plan to. Maybe in future, we will. Thank you. Thank you, Kusha. Hope you feel well soon. Guys, sorry, I'm intermittently checking my chat. Right now, we don't have a plain one in this. Because as I said, we plan to do a lot of designs. If there are some recommendations of designs that you would want to give us, please let us know. And we would definitely, incorporate. If you want plain ones, we do sell plain rice papers. Those are thicker than this. These are napkin or collage papers, but you could definitely use them if that is something that will help with your project. So this one now we'll add a coat of glue, same as last time. Yeah. Now I'll be careful. I don't want to add a lot of glue. Okay. So just a light layer so you can see a sheen, right? That is the amount of glue I'm putting. And then I'll take the same thing. By the way, when I'm applying water on the folder, my design is ulta. Okay. So when I actually apply, it's going to be straight. Yeah. So just lining up everything. Oh, hi, Kuheli. Thank you. Thank you. So, for those of you who have not seen our release or launch, this is our second launch on Decoupage napkins. We now have 100 designs in these. We launched 50 in our first release, and on Wednesday, we did a second release where we released 50 more designs in this. And they vary from everything to steampunk to Indian gods to, such kind of collage prints to flowers. So we have been doing a lot of mix and match. आज भी with the second one also I'm having this issue. Why, Lord, why? Let's see. I'm lucky from this side. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I'll just clean. And then I will use some plain water again to, just make sure that there are no wrinkles. Okay, great. So I'll again remove the excess. Yeah, and we'll let this dry. So while these are drying, let us decide on our focal point. Great. Great, Kuheli. I hope, these lives give you ideas on how you can use the napkins, and I hope you like the designs. So this is what I'm using. This is peony flowers too. I thought they'll make a good focal point. So I was thinking, rather than doing like this big of a flower on a coaster, I can keep this later on for like a tray if I want to do a matching tray or something like that. And I'll take this and divided it for the two coasters. So that's my thought process. So what I'll do is again, I'll follow the same thing. I'll take some water, I'll apply it around the design. Yeah, and we will. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, yes, yes, जैसे ये peonies हमने launch किया, I knew I had to use this in a live. Peonies, I love them. Plus they are very bold and beautiful color. So now I'm going to actually cut this in two parts. So that is why I'm taking like my zero number brush क्योंकि मेरे को एकदम precision चाहिए कि I don't want to cut the flower. So I'll add little by little water around the cut line. And then I'm going to like separate adha bird. So adha birds in one and adha birds in another. Okay. So this is how we have divided. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plan how I want my design. Okay. So first I'll dry these. I don't want to accidentally stick my napkin. Yeah. And then what we are going to do is I'm thinking I'll put one peony here, and then I'm going to put this here. Yeah. So this I'll separate out and I'll use this here probably. The extra hair. Okay. So this is how I plan to do it. So let's do gluing. So I'm going to apply on the sides where I'm going to stick the design. Here there are, as I told you, some wrinkles. So just be careful that you're not tearing the design. And then what we are going to do is put them aside. I'll prep both my peonies together just to save some time. Hello, Pradnya. And then I'll take my first coaster. So this was the bigger one. Okay. So this is how I will. Okay, I'll just burnish everything. I don't know, today things don't want to stick. Yeah. Don't worry, we'll fix this. So just take a very light hand, remove the bigger wrinkles. Okay. And then take your brush only with water. And crisis averted. We'll let this dry. Oh, I'll remove the excess first. And then I'll take this, the second peony. Just clean this part. Get my poster. Was it going to be? Oops. This is- Okay. So I'll have to wash my folder actually. I think my folder has gone sticky. No, actually, it's Khyati only today, Pranita. That's why. Because I'm kind of managing two chats and at the same time, I'm also making a project. So that's why, it's quiet because I have to kind of concentrate. Plus, we are trying Instagram also today. So I'm managing two chats. The gangs actually today, the gang is busy. One part of the gang is in London enjoying holiday. Other part is busy with the kids birthday. सो आज सिर्फ मैं ही फ्री थी तो मैंने सोचा फिर भी मैं करती हूँ लाइव सो दैट पीपल कैन एंजॉय द न्यू रिलीज सो आज थोड़ा इसीलिए शांत है एंड वी आर डन बट मेजर पार्ट हो गया है तो अभी मैं आप लोग के साथ चैट कर पाऊंगी होपफुली नाउ इट विल नॉट बी एज शांत द प्रिसिशन वाला वर्क इज डन Okay, so I'm just taking some clean water and just kind of, making sure if there are little wrinkles, I'm removing that. ठीक है, अभी मैं एक्स्ट्रा जो भी सेम एज लास्ट टाइम एक्स्ट्रा पेपर है उसको साइड से निकाल दे रही हूँ. Yeah. So yes, done. We will dry both of these and then we'll get into the next fun part. Thank you, thank you. Yes, the monsoon sale is still on for a couple of days more. Hello, Neeta. Yeah. I'll just show you the close-ups कि हमने फिक्स कर दिए हमारे जो इश्यूज थे. So if you remember यहाँ पे हल्का सा wrinkles था. वो हमारा since we are doing napkin on napkin, I kind of covered that wrinkles with the flower. So it is now there is no wrinkle left. Also I wanted to show you the difference that यहाँ पे अगर आप देखोगे तो यहाँ पे वो ग्रे stamping है उसके ऊपर हमने peony का flower लगाया but the stamping is so light that you can the flower is kind of opaque on top of it, right? So it actually looks like ये पूरा एक ही napkin है जबकि ये दो napkin है. And now as opposed to that, if you zoom in and see this one, right? So यहाँ पे you can see this is the bold black lettering, right? So even though my peony is here, it has come on top of this pattern. You can see the lettering through the peony. right? That is because this black is so dark that it will show through your napkin. ओके, सो यू जस्ट रिमेंबर कि अगर आप पूरा जितना डार्क नीचे का लगाओगे वो आपका दिखेगा ही फ्रॉम द टॉप फ्लावर, एंड अगर वो स्टैंपिंग या कलरिंग जो नीचे का डिजाइन है वो लाइट रहेगा तो इट मे नॉट शो थ्रू, but at the end of the day napkin transfers, everything is translucent. Okay, so remember कि ये जैसे ये मैंने बनाया तो इसमें दिस इज सो ओवर पावरिंग कि इसने मेरे फ्लावर को काइंड ऑफ मर्ज कर दिया, राइट? And if you see here, this is kind of adding the subtlety to this one, right? That is because this is very subtle light gray kind of a print, so you can do whatever you like but you get two different looks. Thank you Pradnya, thank you Kavita. सो अभी ये हमारा ग्लूइंग का काम हो गया, अभी हम थोड़ा ब्लेंडिंग करेंगे. नाउ यू नो यू कुड हैव डन स्टेंसिलिंग भी इसके ऊपर, क्रैकल पेस्ट एंड ऑल दैट वी डू हैव, बट आई थिंक दिस इज ऑलरेडी लाइक फॉर द 4x4 inch coaster which we are doing, this is already looking good. Now just to tell you guys that आपको ये डिजाइन जो मतलब the technique that we are doing which is napkin on napkin, right? You could do the same thing on a MDF envelope for, you know, like festival envelopes, etc. You could do a same thing on a clock, right? This is just I'm doing it on a small sample ताकि you know we could complete this is in an hour. और आप इसको वापस you know you can use the same technique on a tray, you can use the same technique on a nameplate, on a box. You could use this on a tissue box, you could use this on a clock and do a raisin on top of it. It will look beautiful, but since we have like a constraint of time, we are doing it on small areas. So now what I'm going to do is हम लोग थोड़ा blending करेंगे. We are not going to add a lot of colors because there is already like I want these peonies to be the pop. Also one more thing, if you are into things like quotes etc. तो आप ऐसे हमारे जो stickers है that you can put inside this and then add a coat of glaze or resin. It will look beautiful. These coats do not have any issues with resin or glaze. So you can add, you know, on top of it and it will still look beautiful for those of you who know like to do quote inspired things. But we are not going to add today क्योंकि मैंने वो already काफी projects में किया हुआ है, so I don't want to add. So now what we are going to do is we are going to use two colors today. One is bubblegum pink and one is pine trees. Both of them are chalk paint. And then for the brown, I'm going to use this, which is burnt sienna. This is a liquid acrylic. So remember, liquid acrylics is transparent, chalk paints are opaque. Okay, but both are acrylic, so they will dry permanent. So the brown will be transparent and this pink and green will be opaque colors. So I'll just remove my colors. I'll just I don't need a lot because tissue, tissue roll. Forgot my tissues. Today, I don't know, I'm very scatterbrained today. See, हमेशा उल्टा ही गिरेगा. This is a very strong color. So you can see this is kind of like a bluish green. It's not completely green and it's not completely blue. So I kind of wanted to do a little bit of contrast. So today I'm not going to like do ekdam blending. I'm going to actually do a little bit of contrast. And then we'll take a little bit of brown. This is liquid acrylics. This part of decoupage I really hate. So boring removing all the colors. That's it. We don't need a lot. So first things first, I was thinking कि पिंक को हम यहाँ पे थोड़ा ब्राउन के साथ मिक्स कर लेते हैं एक साइड पे, ठीक है? This side is fresh pink and this side we have kind of mixed it with brown. Yeah. And then I'll take a little bit of brown and I'll mix it here with pine trees. So you can see it makes a very like a dull green and a dull pink, which I think will go really well with our colors. So of course, you can play around, add as much as you want. ब्राइट पिंक एक्चुअली मैं हार्डली ये ब्राइट ग्रीन हार्डली यूज करने वाली हूँ नाउ दैट आई थिंक अबाउट द कलर्स ऑन द कोस्टर्स। तो मैंने सारा ही ब्राउन के साथ मिक्स कर दिया। तो आप देख सकते हो इमीडिएटली कलर कितना चेंज हो गया। सो दिस इज द पावर ऑफ द ब्लेंडिंग। हेलो सुजाता। सो नाउ वी आर गोइंग टू स्टार्ट ब्लेंडिंग। ठीक है। सो आई विल स्टार्ट विथ दिस। I'll get a yeah, I'll get a sponge. Okay. And green, यहाँ पे I'm not going to put, I'm going to put थोड़ा green इधर on this coaster. Where is the spray? Oh, see. My paints were not moving a little bit, so I kind of, just added a spritz of water. Okay. So first off, I'm adding a little bit of green on the edges. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is first take a little bit of brown here. I'm thinking I'll get a chocolate syrup also. I'll also get my chalk paint. Just a minute. And somebody gets that, we will complete the pink part. Now remember कि मैं जो colors use कर रही हूँ, they are all inspired from this palette only. So I'm not taking any new colors. Whatever colors are here, I'm taking those only. ठीक है? Then I'm going to मैं बहुत opaque layer नहीं करना चाहती हूँ. I'm trying kind of creating like a watercolor look. I really like that look personally. And then I'll add a little bit of pink here. ठीक है? I'm taking a little bit of chocolate syrup. Good, that much. Yeah. And we are going to use like teeny tiny bit, और यहाँ से हम ब्लेंडिंग करना चालू करेंगे. So this part I'm good with. I'll just add a little bit more brown here in the corner. Yeah. तो यहाँ पे मुझे थोड़ा और कलर चाहिए. So what I'm going to do is first let me clean my. ठीक है. And I'm going to take some green. Yeah. And here I'm going to use some pink. Corner again, I think brown अच्छे से सबको border दे देगा. So corner will do brown. Let this dry. Move on to the next one. So I'm thinking I'll do a lot of pinks here. Yeah. Then we'll do some browns here. Going to use some greens. So here I'm kind of mixing green and brown. Kind of create a little bit of muddy green. Then we'll go back with pink. Actually, मैं कोशिश करके कलरफुल कर रही थी. It is colorful, but then I have used quite a lot of brown. I think I have also become like Anamika, gravitating towards a lot of browns. यहाँ पे थोड़ा-सा कम लग रहा है. And then just to edge. हियर काइंड ऑफ आई कंट्रोल्ड माय ब्राउन. सो इसमें काफ़ी कलरफुल हुआ है. एंड ये इसमें आई काइंड ऑफ वेंट क्रेज़ी विथ ब्राउन. सो ये आप देख सकते हो, काफ़ी ब्राउनिश है. So, just by taking the same shade of paints and taking the same flower, you could actually do a dark or a light, depending on, how crazy you want to go with browns, etc. So, as you can see, this is more colorful and this is more vintage. And 100% drying one. Thanks, Kavita. So, Abhi, if you see, यहाँ पे, as I said, I have used resin to create this finish. Now, there is another product of ours which is very popular, which is called liquid glaze. So, that is what I'm going to use. Now, this kind of also gives you resin-like finish. So, if you see, this is a liquid glaze ka sample. So this also gives you, but there is no mixing, nothing. So this is again a very popular product. I thought I will show you a demo today so that people can see how it works. So it comes like this in a bottle, 100 ml. Yeah, need a stick. Now, the biggest difference between resin and liquid glaze is that liquid glaze, you don't have to mix. Resin, you have to mix. Liquid glaze normally is touch dry within 6 to 8 hours. Resin will take like at least 14 to 16 hours. Another thing is that with your resin, normally when there are bubbles, etc., you kind of use a heat tool like this to, pop the bubbles. That is a poison for liquid glaze. So if you are using liquid glaze, never use a heat tool on top of it to pop the bubbles. Use this kind of a scoop to remove the bubble, or a like a pin or something like that. So always remember that normally with our liquid glaze, you'll hardly find bubbles in it, because we have already treated it and made sure that there are no bubbles in the liquid. But while moving, let's say you do get bubbles, then you'll have to remove them with a stick or a pin. Don't use a heat gun. Okay. So I'll just put on both of them. This is how it looks. Then you start spreading them with a. Now this is slightly thicker than your raisin. Okay. So you will have to take like a stick and push this like so, like a silicone stick or a wooden spatula. Make sure you have the corners. Be careful. And this is most of it is self-leveling. But if your level is not straight, then you will have an issue. Like right now, my table is not straight. So it is kind of, pulling at one side. But I'll put it later on to dry on my floor, which is leveled. So that is where it will dry. I'm just removing any bubbles in case, they arise. So like, see here, there is one bubble. So I'll just remove it like this. Okay. There will hardly ever be any bubbles, only while spreading. When you are adding air, you will get bubbles. And then this will dry and give you raisin like finish. Just checking whether it's leveled. There are any places. I'm just checking for bubbles by looking at this side. So now just to show you one sample, like I had shown you one sample, right? Gaurav. So this is one such sample. This was actually made by one of our customer who gifted it to us. So this is liquid glaze on top of a coaster. So this is how it will dry. I'll of course be, sharing a reel so that you can see this entire effect once it dries. But this is how it looks. Okay. You could take as much time as you need. मेरे को और एक bubble दिख गया, तो I'm just kind of removing it. ठीक है? So that I think was the live for today, guys. I will um just a second. So I'll move on drying this on my floor, which has a fairly leveled floor. And on my table, it starts moving from here to there. So that was the live. I wanted to keep today's live, very small, like concentrating on one particular product. So as you could see, layering napkin on top of napkin can give you beautiful designs, especially the black and white, because I know a lot of time people who are not doing mixed media, they don't understand the importance of, the black and white napkins. So I hope this give you ideas on how you could incorporate those black and white napkins that we sell, and how they can be combined with patterns on top of them to kind of create beautiful one of a kind effect, which is very different every time based on what combination of napkins you use. And yeah, I'll let this dry. In another 6 hours they should be good, and in another like a couple of days it will be rock hard. So I will one more question in one coat. Yeah, one coat is enough. Yeah, this is not a lot of issue. The material, like the liquid is fine. Like I use my hands. I normally am very careful whenever I use resin, because I personally have heard nightmares of people who use resin. So I'm not a very big fan of resin. And plus, even varnish, when I use, I'm extremely careful. Like, I am comparatively sensitive. So with varnish and these, of course, if you are very sensitive, you could, of course, wear gloves or wear a mask. Normally, you will not have an issue with these. But with resin, definitely wear a gloves or a mask whenever you are using resin, for how I created, these kind of posters. With these, it's fine. So yes, that was the live for today, a smaller live today, and I hope you enjoyed. This was, yeah, I know, very different and like comparatively a smaller project as my normal lives. But आज मैंने सोचा मुझे 5 बजे 1 घंटे में लाइव खत्म करनी थी. Still मेरा 5 मिनट over हो गया है. So I wanted to do a smaller one today, and I hope you kind of learn different techniques. I really enjoy this napkin on napkin technique, and I hope it gave you some ideas. Of course, wait for the reel when I'll post on when you will see the finished posters. And I'll see you next week with a live with Parvati on Instagram next Saturday. So I'll see you there. And thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And apologies, it could not be very interactive because I was kind of also making the project today, looking at two chats. But I hope you enjoyed. And please take care. Have a great weekend. Thank you. Thank you, Sujata. Thank you.